So this guy is about to become sort of famous for leading police on one of the most watched car chases in history. Now the guy's name is Ryan, and Ryan is very much a turd. He's been in and out of prison for the last decade, mostly for stuff like drug charges and car theft. But one morning, he walks into a gas station where he's about to start some trouble. Because at this same time, pulling up to this gas station is this woman. Her name's Martha. And Martha just stopped at the gas station for a cup of coffee, and she's gonna be in and out real quick. So she leaves her keys in the car with the engine running. Big mistake. Now Ryan, he's still inside, and at this moment, bro is really, really high. Like he's all hopped up on a drug that I'll just refer to as Walter White. So Ryan is high on Walter White, and he walks out of the gas station and he sees Martha's car running without her in it. And he's just like, let's go! And he jumps in it and he takes off. Here's the thing though, Martha's 4-year-old son is still buckled in the back seat. So Ryan just accidentally became a kidnapper. And of course, Martha steps outside and her car is now gone and she panics because her kid's in the back seat. So she runs back inside and the gas station clerk calls police. Minutes later, the cops are after this guy and they're chasing him down the freeway and he is not gonna stop. And you can see him here, like he's driving on the wrong side of the road, he's trying to avoid other cars, he's running through red lights at full speed, and other drivers see him and they're like all swerving, trying to get out of the way, trying to not get hurt, all while Martha's 4-year-old kid is crying and screaming in the back seat. So then, bam, 20 minutes later, this full-blown high-speed chase is still going. And it looks like Ryan's gonna see this through to the end. But then, suddenly, kapow! Ryan's stolen SUV gets a flat tire. So now, Ryan has to ditch Martha's car. And you can see him here where he cuts off this other minivan and he forces it to pull over. Then he gets out and he terrorizes the poor woman inside. And there you can see her getting out and running for her life. While, of course, Ryan speeds away in his brand new ride. So now he's off again in this second car. And I guess he's hoping to throw police off course because he goes in the opposite direction, in the oncoming lane. So now he's going full speed, driving the wrong way. And at this point, officers, they realize they gotta do something, because bro is not gonna stop. So they try to lay down those spike strips, the kind that'll blow your tires out. But unfortunately, Ryan, he sees them coming and he easily swerves out of the way and he misses them entirely. Like, they don't even get close to him. So there's no stopping this guy. And if all this chaos isn't bad enough, Ryan is about to make it all much worse. Because just down the road, waiting for him to drive by, is this guy, Trooper He. And he is there and he's laying down some spike strips in the road, knowing that Ryan is about to roll through them. But Ryan, of course, he sees Trooper He and he's like, oh, hell no. And he aims the stolen minivan right at him and he floors it, going 90 miles an hour. And bam, he hits Trooper He. And if you slow down the footage, you can see Trooper He here and you can see the minivan coming toward him. Now, obviously, I can't show him being hit by a car. It's way too shocking. But Ryan does run him over. Oh, but the story's not over yet, because Ryan just keeps going and going and going and going until, boom, he crashes the minivan into another car. And he gets out, and he's kind of running around, and it looks like he's panicking. I guess he's still high off all that Walter White he did. But after scrambling around and thinking about it, he then just gets back into the same minivan he just crashed, and he keeps on driving. Then, a few minutes later, Ryan spots another car to steal, and boom, he slams into it. Now, the woman driving, she thinks this is just a regular car accident, so she does the right thing and she pulls over. While Ryan, he gets out of the minivan and he pretends to be upset over this car wreck. And you can see him here, he's pointing to the damage on the car, and he does this so he can get close to the driver, and once he's close enough to her, he opens the door and he throws the woman out. Which I can't really show you, it's a little too violent, so I'll blur it out. But you can see the poor woman trying to get her car back as Ryan drives off in it. So now, bro has stolen his third car, and he's still on the run. It seems like police are just never gonna catch this guy. Until... Now this is where Ryan's luck finally starts to run out. Because he's speeding along in this third stolen car, and he's dodging traffic left and right. And then he drives into an intersection. And suddenly, boom, he collides with another car. Which I can't show you because of rules against showing car accidents, but you get the point. And you can see the aftermath here. You can see that he gets out and he runs away and he just keeps running and he keeps running. And he rounds the corner and then, oh, oops, he slips on the ice here and he drops his jacket and that slows him down a bit. And just for fun, let's see that slip again in slow motion. He's coming around the corner and boom. Anyway, then he immediately gets up and he keeps going. Now, I guess this is where all that Walter White he did starts wearing off. Because Ryan is suddenly out of energy. Like, look, he's like struggling to jump this fence here. And so he fails to jump the fence, and he just keeps going, and finally, I guess he's like, f it, I give up. And he just lays down in the snow. And this allows police to get to him, and bam, they finally arrest him. Here's his mugshot. So now, Ryan is facing some serious charges from all this. Attempted manslaughter, first-degree assault, kidnapping, vehicle theft. But here's what's crazy. This entire chase is captured on footage by a news helicopter. And the footage is so compelling, this story blows the up. And like everyone is talking about it and they're watching the footage, which is nearly an hour long, by the way. This whole chase lasted around an hour and a half. And so, because of that, this car chase becomes one of the most famous car chases in history, with the raw footage getting over 25 million views on YouTube alone. And so Ryan, as he sits in jail waiting on his trial, he hears about all these YouTube views he's getting, and he thinks all these views means he is about to be rich and famous. And so he's in jail talking to someone on the phone, and he's talking about all this.
If you type in Grand Theft Auto on YouTube, my comes up first.
You're ridiculous. How do you even manage? How do you manage that?
I made the news in the UK and Australia. I know it's nothing to laugh about, but I mean, like, it's like, who else do you know that's made the news in Australia, bro?
And so, yeah, you can see him laughing about everything he did and showing excitement for all the money from the ad revenue he thinks he's gonna make, instead of, showing remorse.
But make 1 million hits, you get paid by YouTube. Channel 7 News, I believe, is gonna be the one that gets paid for that. I'm gonna contact Channel 7 News. I wanna get paid.
Now, here's the thing about those phone calls that people make from jail. They're recorded, and yes, they can be used against you in a court of law. So eventually, Ryan goes to trial, and they use those recordings of that phone call against him. And of course, Martha shows up, and she testifies against him. Thankfully, she got her 4-year-old son back safely. And Trooper He shows up, and he testifies against him. Luckily, he survived nearly being hit by Ryan on the freeway. I mean, he had to undergo 7 surgeries, but fortunately, he did make it. And ultimately, Ryan is found guilty, and he's sentenced to 160 years in prison. And on top of all that, from what I read, he made no money from all the YouTube views. So, good for him. And thank you to Leonardo.ai for sponsoring this video. If you want to make badass art for your videos like this, or like this, or like this, then sign up for Leonardo.ai.